Oh, no. No. No.
Here comes Peter Cottontail, hopping down the bunny trail. Hippity hoppity. Easter is on his way.
This time, why don't we keep it light? Remember, it's for children and he's a bunny.
Do you understand what's happening here? He's hopping down the bunny trail, hippity hoppity. He's coming. He's an unstoppable force. Measured. Inevitable. Eggs aren't the only thing that'll be dying tonight.
I'm sorry, is that the bunny saying that?
If you have to ask, you don't understand the bunny's mindset.
I think I do. He's a bunny bringing candy to children.
Yes, he's a bunny. But a bunny who's laying eggs. He's a freak of nature, a confused, grotesque monster. There's no telling what he's capable of. But why do you think he's holding up carrot, pal?
It's because it's what he likes to eat?
No. By employing the bunny's certain set of skills, he can gnaw it down into a shiv. Slip it between people's ribs around them.
Okay. Well, that's good. Thanks for coming in. We'll give you a call.
Oh, well, call soon. I need the job, and I'm running out of relatives to be taken.
Star Trek's dead.
I don't even want to talk about it.
Thank you so much.
I heard from my source.
Yeah.
Do you want to know the numbers?
Yeah.
The entire
Yeah.
of the and
What do you mean the entire? What do you mean? What, like
first season of Star Trek?
every episode views total? Is what you mean?
Not individual episodes. The entire season.
Yeah.
Total views. About 400,000.
Yeah.
Not per episode.
Yeah.
Cumulatively.
Yeah.
The entire season.
Yeah.
About 400,000 views.
Yeah. Whatever.
Which is an average of, I don't know, maybe 40,000 views an episode.
You are watching Mad Men Cafe live on Q2 Cast TV.
Citizens of the lower realms, look up in envy and terror! Broadcasting from the jagged, oxygen-deprived peaks, we are officially live. You are tuned into the only broadcast daring enough to pierce the clouds, the Madman Cafe. And while you're down there worrying about traffic or taxes, and by plotting, I mean sipping the finest dark roast espresso known to man while overlooking your tiny ant lives, the Madman Cafe is now in session. Let the madness begin.
Yes, it's Tuesday. Welcome to another edition of the Madman Cafe. It's after Easter. Happy belated Easter to everyone out there. I didn't even realize the holiday, after the last week's show. I was like, wait a minute, there's a holiday weekend this week. I didn't realize that. So that's why we were a little late on that Easter bit on itself. But once again, welcome. Thank you for tuning in. We're going to get some things across first, some business off the table right now. First of all, I just want to send healing prayers out there to Mrs. Sci-Fi for Me TV. Our Sci-Fi for Me TV, Jason. His wife has gone through a bit of surgery and she's out. So far everything was successful. So we sent little healing prayers out there to her on there to get back up again on that. Also, down in the description below, last week we were talking about Antiderivative Jill, her demonetization from YouTube and many others, which has been ridiculous. To the point from YouTube right now, you're saying that these people are, AI, repetitive, and all that. But they've got some great content. But down below, if you want to help her, her YouTube channel's there. Also, her Patreon and her Coffee is also there, available there. You can click on there if you want to send a couple bucks to her. She'd appreciate on there because she's completely demonetized. She's got a great channel. I've been on the channel a couple of times on there in her days, and we've had a lot of fun on there. So do check out her channel. Check out her on there. She was on today. She was doing a particular show. What was it? For All Mankind, another episode of that. Hi, Dave. How you doing out there? Greetings to everyone that's coming into the chat right now. Also, we have our what we call the spring sale going on over at shopcuticast.com. Get an extra 10% off your purchase. The promo code is flowers. It is also in the chat, but you can also click over there. You'll get it automatically on there. You just hit the promo code at the end, and boom, you'll get an extra 10% off our t-shirts. We got some great shirts, mugs, Madman Cafe gear out there also. So do check it out. We really do appreciate it. Also, don't forget to subscribe, like, share, and also don't forget we got super chats. We got memberships. Everything's listed in there. Go right ahead on there. We really do appreciate it. Thank you for tuning in. So let's bring on our dais for this week. We got almost a full house. Let's bring in our regulars. Sci-Fi Snob is back with us.
Good afternoon.
And of course, Outpost Nerve down south.
What's up? Anyone else think, why was Emperor Palpatine talking to Jesus for a second? That's what I thought.
He was death, Palpatine. That's
yeah, true. Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah. And coming across back in with us one more time, from across UK, one of our UK brethren, Dean.
Hi, Madman. Hi, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here again.
It's a pleasure having you. It's always a breath of fresh air when we have someone from the UK come and talk with us.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. So let's get started off with a little bit. I just want to throw in a couple of small things first onto the bat. We just got news this afternoon, some breaking news. Netflix has announced that One Piece will be back next year. Yes, that's right. The live action One Piece will be back next year instead of like 2 years down the line as the last time. It was announced. The title card is there. The Battle for Alabaster is coming. Ladies and gentlemen, if you know the One Piece, this is one of the best stories in the One Piece series itself. The manga is unbelievable. Go out and get the manga on this. The manga is fantastic. They did a great job in the anime itself to bring this to life. Let's see what they do with the live action. I'm hoping it's at least 10 episodes instead of 8, because there's a lot of story to this. I know Outpost is a big fan, and he could tell you also there's a lot of detail to this story.
I want to see the big duck.
Yeah, that's what we were waiting. We were hoping we were going to get that in season 2.
Well, yeah, in the anime, she introduced her duck. It's with her throughout the whole ordeal, and for some reason, I guess maybe they had to focus too much on Chopper. Maybe that was the cost of developing Chopper was too much.
And that big bar fight also.
Yes.
100 guys in a bar fight.
Literally 100 guys on screen getting their asses kicked by the actor, not a stuntman, the actor.
Yeah. Yeah. It was a great stage fight scene. It was very well shot. It just, and you can count it down. Ladies and gentlemen, if you have not seen that scene yet, go catch it, count it down, because it is 100 guys were beaten up in the scene.
I think it's going to go down with like the sword fight in The Princess Bride, the hall scene in the first season of Daredevil, which was that amazing fight scene, all done with one shot panning down the hallway. It was one of the best choreographed and most entertaining fight scenes I've seen in a very long time.
The other thing is, and this is being passed around social media right now. You guys are familiar with the documentary series In Search of Darkness?
Actually, I'm not.
No.
Okay, it's a great documentary series. I think Tubi has them all now. They've done the 80s the 90s. They've done several on it. They did a science fiction one. It's basically about 3 hours of interviews with celebrities, scenes from the horror films and stuff like that. They did a whole one on the videotape era on horror films. Now they're supposedly, I think they're going to be working on the new one, and this time they're going to dip back to the 1970s of horror. That's going to be very interesting to see I mean we can go back to the 60s, but technically the 70s was really the birthplace of a lot of the horror films that that you see repetitive now. And to go back and do a whole documentary on that is fantastic. These guys are great. We'll probably start to see the ads for it coming out on that. Of course, it's a Kickstarter program, so they'll be funding through Kickstarter. And this is something that's going to be really good to see a lot of this old horror, that's coming out. That some of it's been forgotten. It's been forgotten out there, to that point. The one last quick thing is that also, and I can't believe I'm saying this onto there. If you guys are familiar with Netflix's Big Mouth series about little kids and their sexuality, well, they are going one more toward it. Basically, they are coming out with a third series on that. And basically, we lost Dean. Okay, hang on. Let's bring Dean back in again. There we go. We lost you for a minute.
Not too sure what happened.
Yeah, it's been happening with Restream lately.
Yeah.
Big Mouth is coming out with another series, and this time we're going into the woodlands. So it'll be some sort of wildlife series with animal sex and inter animal breeding to the point, which they've already shown a scene. So unfortunately, we would get demonetized if we showed it here.
I'll take 10 things I don't need to see for 1,000.
Exactly. So it's it's coming out. For those who've complained about anime and manga and saying, especially the lolly community, that they've been complaining about the lolly community, and saying, "Oh no, we can't have this on that." Just remember, I warned you. You guys were okay with Big Mouth. If you're okay with Big Mouth, then you should not be complaining about lolly. All right, let's get into the first story today. Now, this is a good story, to the point that we're going to start out with something good. You guys are familiar with Malcolm in the Middle, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. You know that they have a new, I don't know if it's a series or if it's a movie or it's a reunion, whatever it is.
It's a series.
It's a series? Okay. It's coming to Hulu. Unfortunately, one cast member will not be there.
Mm-hmm.
Can you guess which one?
Huey.
Yes, Huey.
I was going to say the dad because he's in jail. No, he's dead. He died.
No, you're thinking of another series.
Yeah, he died of cancer, didn't he?
Bryan Cranston is alive and well, dude.
Stop.
Yeah, Bryan Cranston. Bryan Cranston wasn't.
Yes, he was the father.
He's Walter White. No, Walter White.
Yes.
Yes, he was.
Oh, I get what he's saying.
Oh, shut up.
Do you know what happened after he left his wife? He went and he got remarried, and then he had a big problem with the.
Well,
yeah. Anyway,
yes,
never
we
mind.
know that Eric Sullivan, who is I think it's pronounced Eric Sullivan. He played for Maisie Dewey for many years on the series itself. He refused to come back for this series. And from what I understand, from what the media is putting out, he turned down a crap load of money.
Let me say this. There have been a lot of reunions, like cast reunions and panels and stuff that he has been invited to. But he said he's put that time behind him. He wishes the best for his crew, the cast. He loves him, but he's not interested in coming back. There's no malice, I think, in him saying no. But he has been offered a lot of money, and he has turned down the reunion show.
And you know what the main reason is that he's been turning it down?
Why?
Well,
Doesn't
he's
like
at
money?
Harvard studying literature. You always hear about the kid actors that you know, they've had a hard life. You know, you heard the Nickelodeon kids, you've heard the you know, some of the other, you know, from movies, TV series that it's on, you know, and they've had horrible lives. With Eric here, well, he's over at Harvard right now studying literature, and he didn't want to take a break from this. He wanted to continue his studies. That's a good thing.
It sounds like he knows what he wants from life, and he's not going to let anything get in the way with that.
Isn't he 34 though?
Yeah. Well, the series is basically they're adults now. The kids are adults.
That's pretty old to be studying literature still. I mean, I guess for sure.
Okay, no. I have classmates when I was in college that were in their 50s, 60s, and 70s. It's not that old, but yeah. Basically, the story is Malcolm has cut off his family for like 20 years, which understandably, and it's their parents' like 40th, 50th anniversary, and they're demanding that he come, and it's opening all those toxic wounds that he left behind, which I could not watch the show because I cannot stand toxic parents like his mom, the character. So I understand. Dude, I understand why you cut them out.
It's probably because of the making it, you know, the meth production that he cut them off.
Shut up.
No, I saw, what was it? Was it Family Guy? They had the one where they did a cartoon of it, and she, you know, the was going,
yes,
right? Cranston just ripped this freezer door and smacked her in the head, killing her, and he goes, "Kids, we're finally free."
And they walk off into the sunset. I remember
they work.
There was an alternate ending they filmed for Breaking Bad, where it has him waking up, and Walter White was a dreamed up by his character from Malcolm in the Middle.
Yeah, a la Newhart.
Yes, and they're like, that would
yeah,
funny.
Yeah. Alternate ending. You mean the real ending?
Jesus Christ!
Snob's on a run today.
Well, he's probably a criminal now. Canada made half the population criminals yesterday. Sorry, that was.
Ooh.
That was everyone.
That's everyone. That means snob's an outlaw now.
Each person breaks like on the average of 3 laws a day. In the Western world, so. Yeah, we're all criminals.
Only 2% of people in Canada are not criminals under that new law.
Criminals and proud of it.
But yeah, I mean, hey, listen, when you turn down buckets of money, as some of the articles say, they turn down buckets of money for your education. That's a good thing to hear. That at least someone has taken to the point and saying, yeah, I turned down money, but I think my education is a little bit more important than the bullshit in Hollywood.
He could have taken the time off to make a couple million.
It's like what's her name from the Wonder Years? Can't remember her name. Danica or something. She took a lot of time off before she came back to acting.
Winnie?
Got like a master's. Yeah, Winnie Cooper. Her name was Danica. So I can't remember the actress's name.
The character's name is Winnie, but
yeah, she was like, that was before my time. I'm not as old as y'all, but a lot of like ex-child actors will go on to school and then come back and do some acting, but I'm guessing he's just not in that place to come back yet.
Yeah, no, it's that point. But I mean, you're still hearing. I mean, who was it? That kid from Nickelodeon that I forgot the name of the series. I mean, they found him on the streets, and he was like,
Goldberg from the Mighty Ducks became a crackhead. A meth addict.
Yeah, no, there was another kid that I forgot the name of the series that he was a secondary character, and they found him on the streets, and they tried to clean him up, and he did. You know, he just literally they put him in like in a hotel room, and he wrecked the hotel room and just went back to the streets, and he's all messed up, you know, and it's just like
Taylor
Chase.
This.
Yes,
his name.
Taylor Chase. Yes,
from
it appears they either get all messed up, or they get out just in time and they get, go away from it.
Ned's Declassified was the show.
Yeah.
Very few of them seem to survive. And, even the ones that do, like, what's her name? From Firestarter. I don't forget her name.
Drew
Drew Barrymore. I mean, she
was
able
drinking
to
at
clean
the age of 10.
Yeah, she was at cocaine and stuff apparently.
Yeah.
I mean, she's able to. It's just the degeneracy of Hollywood, but she was able to overcome that eventually, and then get back into it. And
degeneracy. She was here in Studio 54 in New York at the time.
Yeah, look at the Culkin brothers. Macaulay Culkin and what's his brother's name? Karim. I can never pronounce it. They were child actors that had that fell so hard, but now they've rebounded so much. One of them just won an Emmy. He had that whole speech where he said, looked at his wife, said, "Remember when you told me the next time we have kids is when I win this award? Well, come on, it's time to get cracking." Macaulay Culkin was in the Fallout TV show, and he's married to Brenda Song from Disney Channel. And they have like 3 kids. They have done great. It's just that time between them ending and them kind of they finally get that freedom once their acting career ends or stalls, where they get out of from under their parents' thumb, and then they go crazy, and then they come back and like, okay, I've had my crazy time to grow up. But it's that crazy time that sometimes they don't survive.
Yeah, and I still ask you, why are they doing? Hollywood. Malcolm in the Middle. They're talking about Knight Rider. They're talking about all these series that they just want to rehash again. Make something new, God damn it!
I'm so glad you mentioned that, because I saw the most insane thing last night on a commercial. So when I was a kid, I grew up the first generation of Power Rangers, and one of the first action figures that Power Rangers came out with were those ones that had the head of the character that you like squeeze something on it and flip, and it's like they're morphing. That was a big thing when I was a kid. They're just now coming out with those they're the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. They're re-releasing those lines of action figures. It's like that was 30, almost 25, 30 years ago. It's like you can't come up with anything new.
But I bet they're not the same construction. I mean, I saw some people posting the old Matchbox series with Voltron and all the others. The Voltrons, the Power Rangers, all those Zords and stuff like that. And those were die-cast metal at the time.
Yes, there was like, if I threw them at my brother, those would kill him.
Yeah, it just literally, and that's the reason why they're not die-cast, because people have hurt themselves throwing at each other.
My best friend had a Voltron, and it was so cool.
Yeah, I had the Voltron. I had the Skyman. I mean, there was so many that I life, and those were hard die-cast metals, and I don't have them anymore. Unfortunately, my mother threw a lot of them out. She was like, it's just toys. I was like, oh. And there's a funny added to that, because I saw a video where it was like one of those Pokemon trading card conventions, and the mother took the son to see it, and he's like a little kid and all that, and he had all these Pokemons and stuff like that. He wanted to trade them in for cash or trade it for something else. Mother's like, this is just junk. I mean, what are you gonna get, $1 or something like that? So the guy goes through it, and the kid had like freaking 30 or 40 of like some of the top line collector cards.
Oh yeah,
we're talking. He walked away with something to the essence of about $2,700 in his pocket.
Damn,
$2,700. Didn't think twice on that one.
Well, it's like
probably get more. Yeah. Go ahead.
I was cleaning up some boxes a few years ago, and I found my what was it called? It was that recording device from Home Alone. What was it called? Talkboy?
Yeah, the Talkboy.
And I pressed play, and it had recording from a Christmas in like the mid 90s of me and my brother as kids. And I played it for my mom, and she just started crying. It was such a touching moment. But it's that's some of that stuff you have to save.
Mm-hmm.
I have a lot of my Mighty Ducks toys sitting on my counter right here in my bedroom.
Yep. Well, we hope the best for Eric here. You know, hope he
Seems
gets
like he's
whatever
in a
he's
great
been.
place.
Yeah, he's in a great place right now. So we'll move on a little bit. Just one thing's welcome to those of you watching on X and also on Rumble. And I see that Rumble finally fixed the flaw that everyone has been complaining about, where basically when you put in your thumbnail, the thumbnail doesn't come up. It seems this time around it has come up. Hi, Vicky. Say hello, Vicky, out there.
Vicky?
We know who.
My Vicky?
Yeah. So basically, let's move on a little bit. And of course, this is something everybody's talking about. But first, I'm going to put a disclaimer here. The numbers that we're going to talk about hasn't been, as they say, hasn't been confirmed yet by anyone, Paramount or anyone. This is from people on the inside. Of course, a lot of us have, I myself, I have people on the inside in certain companies, especially in the Hollywood sphere. So does Sci-Fi for Me TV and many others. We hear things to the situation and to that point. Red Letter Media put out, and you saw at the beginning of this in the clips that we were showing, they were talking about, of course, obviously, oops, wrong card. Give me a second here. There we go. Star Trek Academy. I know we said we wouldn't talk about it again, but it seems that possibly the numbers are being hidden, and good reason why. I mean, we got numbers here that if this is true, holy shit. I mean, we're talking 40,000 per episode, 400,000 viewers for the entire 10 episode run. And basically that kind of works out to about it could be a mix, of 40,000 on there. I mean, I'm going to read a little bit from the Geeks and Gamers, what they put in on their article. And the thing about it is, if you're going to say, well, it's just Geeks and Gamers and all, even Yahoo has picked up this story. Okay. There's a lot of smaller media outlets that is picking up this story. If this report is even remotely accurate, Starfleet Academy may go down as one of the most shocking flops in modern streaming history. According to YouTuber Mike Soglasta, and he's from Red Letter Media, the viewer numbers behind Starfleet Academy aren't just bad, they're just downright catalytic. I've heard from my source the entire first season of Starfleet Academy, not individual episodes, the entire season. Total views are about 400,000, he said. Not per episode, cumulatively the entire series, about 400,000 views, which averages maybe 40,000 per episode. Not 400,000 per episode, not even close. That's the 400,000 total across the entire season, divided by 10 episodes. And if you're looking for fewer than 40,000 per episode for a franchise as massive as Star Trek, those numbers are downright insulting.
That's crazy. And people shit on Enterprise still.
Yeah, I still heard this week. There's still people shitting on Enterprise.
I have to disagree. I mean, look, 40,000 views is. I mean, my best video on my channel has like 21,000 views. I mean, that's almost double mine. Oh wait, I'm a tiny YouTube channel that nobody knows about with 700 subscribers. Not some giant 60 years sci-fi franchise that has been around forever and has tons of movies and TV shows to its name. Wait a second, maybe 40,000 views is pretty crappy.
Yeah, I find it strange though, because on YouTube, their first episode had, I believe it was about 218,000 views before it got pulled. Do you think all the people watching the first episode decided not to go on? And by my calculations, roughly 200 to 800 YouTube channels have been covering Star Trek Starfleet Academy in a very negative way. Say there's roughly about 3 people on the panel with the host. By my estimates, a quarter of that 400,000 are just those channels watching the episode a couple of times to comment on it.
You think about that for a minute. We're the ones that have been put up the numbers. Could you imagine if we didn't cover this?
It would be even worse.
I think Dean may have underestimated the amount of people watching the show in order to. I mean, I've only seen people dunking on it. And it was a lot of major, some of the major entertainment YouTube podcasts were all, from the major ones all the way down to the teeny tiny ones. So I think you might have underestimated that a little bit.
I absolutely could have. It could be half. Half those numbers could just be, yeah. I mean, I had to watch 5 episodes, and that was bad enough.
Yeah.
I was covering CW numbers for well over a year on this channel, and Supernatural, the Flash, Arrow, all these shows that started to collapse, and the newer shows like the 4400 remake and all the others that they came up, and I covered the numbers. There was nothing that came close to these numbers. I think the worst I've seen is maybe 90,000 views. And that's broadcast views. That's not online views. That's broadcast views. 90 to about 150,000 people watched it. I mean, CW got bought over, by another company. They had better, before they got bought over, their numbers were better in the afternoon with Judge Judy and all the other repeat shows on there. Better than primetime.
And this show is supposedly cost $5 to $10 million an episode. I mean, that's outrageous. And 40,000 people watched an episode, and you're spending $5 to $10 million for that episode. I mean, this is it boggles my mind that they even let it go to a full season. Like, geez.
And the propaganda,
I don't understand, because weren't Paramount kind of touting figures like 2.1 million for the first 2 episodes watched, or something like that?
Yeah, where were they getting those numbers from? That's
one set of numbers is wrong here. And if it's Paramount's 2.1, which was only touted, probably released through certain channels to try and show, oh, look, this show's really popular, they're about to be caught with their hand in the cookie jar. Because, it's a big difference between 1 million per episode for the first 2 episodes, and only 40,000 per episode. I mean, that's a huge drop. Someone's numbers has to be wrong.
Yeah, I mean, I don't. The thing is that we have this from one source, from Mike from Red Letter Media, and everybody's jumped on it because it kind of fits the narrative that the show sucked, which it did. But I'm surprised they didn't why didn't this has been all over for the last week. Why didn't they come? If it's not true, why isn't somebody from the company coming out and saying, look, we have the numbers, it was actually whatever? That says to me that either that these numbers are true, or that they might not be true, but the numbers aren't really that much better, that it's worth them coming out and saying, oh no, the real numbers are this, and people go, well, that's still pretty crappy. So I mean, it makes me think that this is at least close to the truth.
It could be, yeah. I
mean, Dave puts up, so with numbers so low, do you think season 2 might get shelved? It's a good possibility. Right now, it's up to the Ellisons. He could just end up just shooting it out somewhere between now and the end of the year, because they said, oh, it's going to come out next year. And I said, really? You're going to take that long to decide whether or not to shelve this thing? I mean, just shelve it and just get rid of it. If you had these numbers, could you imagine the second season alone?
So my theory on this is that they've come out. The only people watching the show are to dunk on it. Mm-hmm. So if you are the company, and the rumor is that there's 2 Star Trek movies in production, or at least not in production, but being started to scripts being written, some level of the beginnings of production, and they're going to reboot. They're going to try to reboot this whole the whole thing and pretend that all this didn't happen, or try to fix it, or, come up with something new. So I mean, if that's true, and why would you release season 2? It's only going to be more damage to your brand. It's only going to be all these big YouTubers going up and crapping all over it and making jokes about it and getting even more views from it. Because is season 2 going to be any better than season 1? It's not. They put them all together back to back. They didn't have, if they had shot season 1 and then had said, oh, everybody hated it, let's rewrite some of these stories and make it better, maybe it would be, but they didn't. It's basically one season, split into 2. So there's, it's not gonna be any better. It's gonna be just the same stuff, and the YouTubers will all be making fun of it. We'll all be making fun of it. So why bother to further damage your brand? My guess would be that they're supposed to release in maybe fall or maybe January of next year. My guess is that just prior to when it's 2 weeks before it's going to be released, something like that, they'll quietly put something in in the trades, and it'll say, oh yeah, we're not going to bother showing Star Fleet Academy season 2.
And notice when Red Letter Media put this out, suddenly there was an explosion of propaganda on Star Trek. Oh, they might be doing renegotiating Kurtzman's contract. They might give us the season 3, or basically look at all the characters. We put a gay Klingon into this. It's so good that we did this. The pictures that keep coming out. Oh, it's this one's birthday. Oh, let's wish her a happy birthday. And then you're hearing from Robert Picardo just like every 10 seconds, which he needs to slow down a bit, or slow down whoever's writing for him, because we everybody was criticizing Shatner for what he wrote, that basically he was approving of Star Trek, but actually we know that most of his stuff is not even being written by Shatner, that he has a secondary person that handles his social media account.
Yeah,
I was looking
before. Go ahead.
Go ahead. I was looking up the numbers, comparing these numbers to Enterprise first season. Enterprise never got below 4 million viewers, which it's still not much when it's Star Trek. Per episode. Wow. Yeah, the lowest it ever got was mid-season 3, according to the graph I'm looking at, and that was still above 3 million.
4 million is 100 times 40,000.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think a closer comparison here would probably be to the last season of Doctor Who, because Doctor Who has not done well at all. But the viewing figures for that is between 2 and 3 million per episode. Yeah. So you think about it, a show like Doctor Who, as bad as it was, is doing, 50 times better?
Pretty much.
Yeah, and that shows bad too.
Well, no, and the thing about it is, taking from the Enterprise point of view, Enterprise was on independent station.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
To get 3 to 4 million on an indie station, that's almost network numbers. Put that up against a show like on NBC, ABC, CBS, or even Fox. Even though there might be double digits on some of the shows, some of the shows are like 7, 8 million on the average. For something in primetime, and then you have Star Trek Enterprise, it's doing 4 million. And then you see this 40,000. It's like, Jesus Christ, why did anybody fund this show?
We all heard. I mean, I've heard that the Acolyte. People say the Acolyte was one of the worst shows ever made. Now, I didn't watch any of it. I couldn't even be bothered. Those people who had saw those are coming out and saying this is worse than the Acolyte. Some of them, and I'm like, oh wow, that must have been pretty bad too. Like. I mean, this show is bad.
Disney's wiping their head.
Yeah, Disney's they're happy. They're happy somebody beat them. I mean, look, you can like this show if you want, but I don't see how anyone could defend it as saying it was good television. Hey, there's lots of B movies out there that are really crappy, and we like them because we like the cheese. But you can't say that this was good television. This is bad television. You might like it, but it's bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was where was it? Let me look this up real quick. The worst box office movie ever. There is one movie that just basically was really horrible. Let me just bring this up a second here.
Aragorn, wasn't it?
No, it was a weird name for it, like Zigzigzul, something like that.
I think me and my friends watched that on Discord one time.
See, of course it won't come up on here.
I know Aragorn was considered one of the worst movies ever made.
I thought you were going to say Battlefield Earth.
That one.
God, that was awful.
No, this was worse.
What was that one that like you basically used Star Wars battle scenes in the movie? Like they.
Oh, here we go. Hey, I'm sorry to interrupt. It's pronounced ZYZZYX Road, and it only earned $30.
Is that the one I'm thinking of? That just basically ripped off Star Wars.
$30. So that's $30 more than I've earned in any of my movies.
$30. $30.
The guy's family came to see it.
$30.
Not even the rest of the crew. They didn't even see the movie.
So if it's roughly selling, only 6 tickets were sold.
Yeah, $5 a
came out.
ticket.
2006.
Ouch.
So when you think when you look at this rating scratch, and he said, well, it's about as bad, you could be worse. $30, to that point. It's just, oh my God. But there are other movies, and you look at some of the others. What is it? Offending Angels, $150 that they made. What was the other? There's like a couple others throughout there. They just didn't do it, and then it just jumps into the 100 millions. He was like, "Oh, this one movie did $100 million," and said, "Okay, at least they made $100 million and not $30." To that point, But this is what Hollywood has been doing. This is why they're, like we're talking in the Exodus today. J.J. Abrams is leaving Hollywood. Other companies are leaving. Paramount, everybody is packing up and moving. Hollywood there's nothing left of what Hollywood used to be. And whether it's broadcast television, streaming, theatrical, you don't get and they try to blame AI. They say AI is going to kill us. AI is just a tool, just like everything else, which they keep crying about every time a new technology is born. They said the same thing about video VHS machines and beta machines back in the day. The video camera, they said
it stole our
internet.
Souls, man.
We went from linear editing to non-linear editing. They said, that's going to cost jobs when we go, to Media 100, when the Media 100 was invented. And, but none of that happened.
Well,
none of that happened.
I mean, that's not 100% true. I mean, they do lose jobs, right? When you go from cars,
cars. I mean, I'm talking about it killed the industry.
It's not going to necessarily kill the industry. I mean, but there's always going to be job losses. When we went to automobiles from buggies, the buggy whip companies all went under. But I mean, it's about these tools. They end up they really end up releasing more creative ability because people with less money can now do these sort of things, or at least at a higher level. Some of it just brings more people in, so there's more competition, so you can tend to get better stuff. But I mean, I agree with you. I mean, it will change Hollywood for sure, AI, all these things. But the question is, in the end, is it better for us? I mean, it's increasing productivity, right?
Well, not only that, it's increasing the creativity standards, because look at all the videos that are out now. Look at all the things that they've put out that basically and I'm not talking about they're ripping off Star Wars or Star Trek or any of this. I'm talking about they've put out these little mini films that some people have created, and they're very well done.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them are drama, some of them are action, some of them are comedic, and it's you see them on YouTube, you see them on X, you see them throughout social media, and they're really, really good. This is the major problem with Hollywood. They said we're a loss. We don't have the writers. The writers are there. The creativity, the people with creativity, artistic expression are there. They've been in front of your face for years now. Even before AI, you had people that were creating little mini movies and stuff like that. Even the Star Trek Star Trek Continues and all the
Time out.
others.
Before we get too
those
far away
series.
from the topic at hand, it's not about who's talented. It's not anymore. Hasn't been like that in about 5 or 10 years. It's about who checks off the DEI boxes. It's about who makes us look good. Who we hire makes ourselves look good. Remember, and talking about the AI. Remember about what was it 2 or 3 years ago, maybe, when they had the last writer strike or the last actor strike. And one of the main issues was because studios wanted to buy people's likenesses. If I came in as an extra working for a day at a studio, and in my contract they wanted to put in saying that they have the rights to my likeness forever, like Sandlot, forever, and they never have to pay me again. So that means I do one movie and they can put me in the next 10 or 15 without paying me. That was the biggest issue with AI. And
Well,
yes,
remember this. No. Hear me out. Hear me out on this. Back in the early days of broadcast television, I Love Lucy, Gilligan's Island, all those shows. Did any of those people get a residual check from those shows?
I think that was
once they went to syndication. No, it's the same thing. It's the same exact thing. They've used their likenesses. They repeated the show a dozen times. I mean, this is what formed the station TBS.
I don't think that's the same at all.
Sure it is, because basically the networks sold these shows to other networks around the world.
That is not the same, because in your Madman, in your scenario, it's the same product just being resold over and over again. In my scenario, which is the scenario the Screen Actors Guild fought against, that Fran Drescher, when she was president, really fought against, was, say I'm in a Star Wars movie. They could take my face and put me in Star Trek and not pay me. They could put me in the next Ryan Gosling rom-com and not pay me. They could do that forever. It's a different... I can see the similarities, but it's different.
Yeah, but see, the thing about it is, okay, you're saying that, they could put it in different movies. But see, the thing about it is, here, they were selling the same product, the same label over and over and over, and not have to pay on there. And what was that? Who said that? Gavin Blackburn, welcome. William Shatner has said that he got a residual for the last 3 showings of Star Trek. Yeah, because that was right at the point where there was some complaints started to come in on there. Because basically, you were starting to see some syndications when that happened. Because you had, like here in New York, we had WPIX, WWOR. You saw, when I was growing up, I saw Star Trek on WPIX, not on NBC. Mm-hmm. That's when I was growing up with, all that. Same thing with Doctor Who. Same thing with a lot of these TV, UFO and all these other TV, science fiction TV series. I saw it on there. Now, Think to the situation, and I understand what you're saying, Outpost. Yeah, they could put it in another movie, and they can get another paycheck. But these people were also not getting a paycheck for the amount. Do you know how much money that they would have?
They're not getting a paycheck for the other stuff. When you get the paycheck for that one day work, when you signed the contract for your 1 day work, this was the issue. They wanted to put in your contract that they owned your likeness. So they could use it in anything you want, whether you agreed with it or not. That's like if I was a Mormon and I don't drink, but I wanted to be an actor and I went and signed a contract, they could use my likeness to sell beer. They could do all this stuff with my likeness that I have.
But they were doing this with these shows, because they had eventually down the line started editing commercials. Remember the John Wayne commercials? Later on, eventually they had to pay the estate of John Wayne, but they started using John Wayne in those freaking beer commercials. When they started editing, that's when we were getting out of linear editing into non-linear, and that's in the 80s. That's late 80s. Likenesses were being used. Shows were being propped up in that era without anyone else getting paid that should have been paid. What we have now is sort of to the extreme level that basically now we could take the people out of that show and put them into another show.
That's what I'm saying.
And another and another and another. We've progressed further because of the technology.
Exactly what I've been saying.
It's still not paying the actor. Now, is it the technology the problem? No, it's the studio that's the problem.
Exactly.
I think you're both
Gentlemen,
in agreement there.
So who are you guys arguing with?
Yes. So after all of that,
they both agree.
Yes.
Right on.
Can I jump in on the AI creativity side quickly? Because I've seen a lot of these AI movies, short clips coming out, and they talk about Hollywood is so cooked. But when you actually look at what's been produced, and it may just be the technology hasn't matured, but at first it might look very flash, very nice. But when you stop and actually look, you get all those artifactings, you get things disappearing from shot to shot. You get the inconsistencies that AI just can't keep up. The one I saw, it was a Batman thing. One of the ones I saw was Batman fighting a load of people. Harlequin was one of them. The expression on Harlequin never changed. Yet you had a lot of people praising it and going, "Oh, well, Hollywood's cooked. This is it. We can make our own movies." And I think we're a long way from being able to do that. I don't think AI is there. I don't think the consistency of AI is there. I think it looks good. Sorry,
Dean, have you ever heard of the uncanny valley idea?
Yes, absolutely.
That's exactly what you're talking about. You reminded me of that. It's that idea that something looks like almost human, but it's like you just see it a little off.
Do you know what? So and the closer AI gets to it, the more that uncanny valley kicks in, almost like we're programmed to look for things that are almost identical to us but aren't. And it's a horrible thing, because the moment you start noticing it, a lot of the AI stuff that pops up, some of it looks good to begin with, and then you kind of look at it closely, and it's those telltale signs running through. And the moment you pick up on them, it's like the curtain falls, and you see the mechanics behind the scene, and it's like, it's not great. I think one of the best ones I saw was a spaceship taking off from orbit. It was like a 10-20 second clip, but it took this person a couple of weeks to do. And they were going, "Oh yeah, I can make anything." And I'm there thinking, no, if you want to make a proper film, you're spending years and years fighting with an AI engine to create each of your scenes in sequence. And then you still got to put a story around it. You still got to have the voice acting around it, because AI voices, as far as I'm concerned, they're really not there yet. Again, the uncanny valley kicks in. You hear the voice. It's the way it modulates. There isn't that kind of quavering and stuff you get in a human voice. I think we're a long way off AI taking over from what a professional film studio or TV studio can produce. It's come a long way, yes, and I think it's great if you put it into things where, like computer games, cutscenes. I think it would work well in those environments or in very short snippets. But I think we're a long way from AI being a real threat.
I'm going to disagree.
Go on.
Well, first of all, okay, so what you did was, some of what you're describing about AI was, you were describing it as a tool there, and I agree with that. And people using it as a tool, it's different than we've done all kinds of things that make it easier to do stuff. And if AI is used as a tool, so I can make my cartoon or whatever it is much quicker, then you've increased the efficiency. But the other problem is this, and Madman and I have spoke about this ourselves, and Madman, you can jump in afterwards and flesh out what I'm saying here. But you use it a bit more than I do. I've only fooled around with it a little bit, and we've seen, like, almost every 6 months, I think in the last 6 months, Madman, you can back me up on this, you've seen it increase significantly with its ability to do stuff. We started out 2 years ago, and you'd have people with 6 fingers and stuff. Guess what? We don't have that problem anymore, and that was 2 years ago. And it's gotten better and better, and you're seeing, and it's not over years, it's months. 6 months or less, and you're seeing a great increase. So the thing I'm saying, Dean, is that you might be right, it's not there yet, but I don't think it's as far away as you might think it is.
It's like when I think AI and how it's off, what scene comes to mind to me is the opening scene of Ant-Man when it's set in the 80s. It has what's his name played Hank.
Oh, yeah.
Are you talking about oh god, I can't even think of his
Catherine Zeta-Jones'
Michael
husband.
Douglas.
Michael
It had Michael
Douglas.
Douglas. He aged like 40 years, and it looked like almost like a mask put on over his face. Like the eyes and stuff moved kind of wonky, but to me, the part that broke the illusion the most was the muscles around the mouth. If you watch him, his mouth is almost pulled tight around the corners and does not move like like your cheeks and your jaw, how it moves in kind of almost circular motions when you're talking sometimes.
Some of the audio to video comprehension on lips and stuff like that is still, and I'm surprised because there are software puppetry stuff that does better than what the AI has done. That maybe you can take create a puppet and start making it talk, and it follows. Because you're like I'm speaking now, and I'm talking, and I have the puppet next to me, and the puppet's talking. The mouth is opening and closing in the right patterns, and that software has been around for close to 10 years now.
Ant-Man came out in 2015, so
yeah.
So it was probably it was, I think, the start of that de-aging AI trend that we have been seeing.
Yeah. Gavin Blackburn puts in, they used Crispin Glover's likeness in Back to the Future 2. Even though he refused to return, they made up an actor to look like him. Crispin Glover sued successfully. Yeah, that happened. And it happened with a lot of other things. People that have either passed away or they refuse to come back for. I mean, I'm curious how they're going to do the Malcolm in the Middle situation that we just talked about. Dewey's character. How much are they?
They've recasted it.
Yeah, they recasted it. But how much are they going to make them look? Are they going to use makeup? Are they going to use AI? We don't know.
They're probably not.
They haven't shown. Because curious, they haven't shown him yet.
I'm betting it matters. Or I don't even. Maybe they're not even going to have the character in.
I don't think it matters because they just put anybody in there. I mean, look, did you see the picture you put up? He doesn't look anything like he did when he was 10 years old or whatever it was. So, I mean, just put in some guy and say, yeah, that's him. Okay.
Yep. So let's see what happens next. Yeah, go ahead.
The guy who they got to play Huey, his name's Caleb Ellsworth Clark, looks kind of like him. Looks actually very much like him. Skinny, pointed chin, big ears, kind of.
The Dewey. You mean the Dewey actor now, or the way?
Yeah, the Dewey actor now. They got the guy they got to replace him, and he is, how old is he? Does not say. But I think they recast the guy who playing him. Seems like a good recast. I don't like the mother, so I never watched the damn show. I couldn't stand the mother.
Oh, I love the show.
To be honest, they recast people in comedy shows constantly. Last Man Standing, I loved that series. And how many times was that one daughter recast?
Yeah, twice.
And it was twice. But it was within one season, then recast, and then within And they swapped out a couple of the daughters, if my memory serves me.
I think it was the middle
they
daughter.
kind of lampshade it, draw your attention to it in a funny way, and then before you know it, they are that character.
They would do that like in 90s sitcoms. Harriet from Family Matters famously recast in the last season to horrible. Aunt Viv from
I was gonna say Aunt Viv.
Both of them I liked, but it didn't work out with the first one.
And of course,
I have no problem with recasting people. You need a new actor or actress for whatever reason. You should recast them. I mean, I think one of the biggest mistakes Marvel made was not recasting Black Panther.
Yeah,
do another Black Panther movie and bring in someone new. Oh well, I mean, the guy, he passed away. What can you do? You're not. It's not an insult to bring in a new. No one could ever play that character before. This guy was the first one, and he happened to die, and now we can never have one of those.
And the guy in the suit mostly are stuntmen anyway.
Exactly. And how many times have they recast Doctor Doom?
This is about the third or fourth actor to play Doctor Doom. I think third.
Yeah,
because you had the guy
and they got the guy who played Iron Man to play Doctor Doom. It's just,
How many
it's
Supermans
ridiculous.
have we had? I mean,
Yeah,
exactly.
Who cares?
Who
Yeah.
cares? Who cares? So
Get
we'll see.
the right actor.
Yeah, so we'll see with Star Trek Academy. We'll keep a little bit of an eye on it, see what happens in the next couple of months. Hopefully, the Ellisons
I'm just surprised for that. I'm surprised they're going to spend the money to do the post-production stuff with what's going on. Like, that's my thing. I'm like, really, you guys going to spend all that money? I mean, but no, maybe they are. Who knows?
Yeah,
I don't see why I would. But
well, here we are. Okay, so we'll check on this. All right, time for our moment in the asylum before we get into the next one. We got a good one for you. Okay, well, let me.
Oh, I've been following their trip. This is so cool.
Yes, going to deep space on this one, and years ago when I was a young lad, they used to say, "Drink your Tang. It's what the astronauts took in space." Well, I think they finally found a replacement for Tang, and it's unbelievable. And you'll see it right here on this mission.
We talked a little bit about what to expect from the crew, whether that's taking photos or making audio recordings. To get a little more detailed, Reed Wiseman and Jeremy Hansen will be up first to capture imagery and record audio on the portable computing devices. You hear those referred to as PCDs.
I just noticed that floating away.
As the support members.
Yes, that's right, ladies and gentlemen. Even the astronauts have a bit of a sweet tooth.
If I was an advertising executive for Nutella right now, I would be all over this right this second.
Wait a minute.
Oh,
wait
yeah.
a minute, Outpost. I
Are
think they may have, because I think this has been floating around a bit too now.
Oh, I got to tell my niece that. Oh, is that from them? I got to tell my niece that. My niece loves Nutella. She's always asking her grandmother for Nutella, and her grandmother will sometimes say no, and she'd be like, "But if I eat it, I could grow up to be an astronaut." I'm going to tell her about that.
Oh yeah,
but
so cool.
It's so cool to see that I mean, this is a great thing, and and I'm really pissed off at the media. There should be a lot more coverage. This is an important time in our history. And then they try to spin in, oh yeah, it's the first black man in space. Who cares about that? We've gone to space. We're back to the moon. Oh, even though we're not landing on the moon, we've gone back to the moon, circled around, and we're on our way back.
See, that's why I disagree. I mean, this is not, I mean, it is important, but they're just circling around the moon. That's not really, when they land on the moon again.
Yeah, but they're taking
when they land on
survey.
the moon.
No, they're taking survey.
I understand, and then they're planning to go back soon.
Yeah.
Now that'll be the one where people will start to think when we actually land on the moon.
This is the first time in 60 years we've been that far.
I know, and how come we haven't?
Because the money, we didn't want to pay the money anymore.
Well, no, I think after Challenger, it kind of put us back.
Yeah, it did.
And we had the shuttles. We were already progressing in space at that moment, and then the Challenger tragedy, NASA just really gave up onto itself, because how we going? They put to themselves, how can we do this and expect people to be okay going up into space, and that's the thought. It took basically companies outside the government sphere, outside NASA, to bring us back. Elon Musk and everybody else that has been involved with space travel to that point. They've taken us to the next level.
It's about will.
Exactly.
Now, do you know how many from the late 40s until the end of the Cold War, the early 80s? Do you know how many test pilots died testing out aircraft in order to fight the communist threat?
Yeah,
100 Americans were killed, pilots, testing out various aircraft that crashed, that didn't work the way they thought it would, but they didn't care, because it was the cost of doing business to defeat the evil empire. I mean, I'm not writing off these shuttle disasters. They're horrible, and to be honest, it's really, you know, when we look into both of those disasters. I mean, the first one, I can't believe the second one happened. I mean, they should have learned their lesson from the first one, but they didn't. You know, and it's, you know, you look into those into deeper, and it's bureaucratic mismanagement and government crap that caused those people to die. But that was, you know, 2 times 7, 14 people. I mean, we were willing to pay the price to defeat the Soviets, but we're not willing to pay this price to go to space. And it is a high price, and we should have done more to minimize that price, and they didn't, and that's the NASA's fault. But we could have kept going on if we had really wanted to.
Yeah, well, it's that joke that they had in what was that Bruce Willis asteroid movie,
Armageddon.
Armageddon, and they're strapping down, and what's his name? He's like, you realize we're in a ship that's been
Steve Buscemi.
Steve Buscemi. He's built by the lowest bidder with the lowest bidding parts that ever on there as far as putting the ship together, and that's true.
Yeah.
They're going to get
that's
the
all.
lowest
That's all
bidder.
military contracts. That's
military contracts. Yeah,
government contracts.
Yeah.
His name?
Yeah.
It was not Steve Buscemi.
Yeah, it was Buscemi.
He was it was the coach. He also played the assistant coach in remember the Titans.
Yeah.
But you know, it doesn't. I mean, look at the private. Look how Musk has done with private space flight. I mean, you know, it's always the bureaucratic, the big government that has failed us. Now, perhaps it worked at the beginning, but the monster just became too big, and it couldn't do anything properly or efficiently. Billions and billions of dollars spent to do these things that private companies are doing for a fraction of the cost now. So I really think it has to do with goodwill, the will of the people, the will of the government, etc. to do it.
Are you thinking of Michael Clark Duncan? Wasn't it him who said
No,
that?
it was Will Patton.
Will Patton.
Yeah, he played in both movies. He was the assistant coach in Remember the Titans, and the kind of the assistant lead driller in Bruce Willis's kind of right hand man, and he was the one that had his ex-wife was April O'Neil, and they had the son that he leaves that real touching scene where he leaves the day before he launches, he leaves the cute little space shuttle, and when they see him on the tarmac, and she finally tells their son it's his dad. Sweet little scene that I really liked. Great movie. Loved Armageddon.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, no, I mean we're at a point where we're beginning to get back out there, and we're not the only country. It's like you got India, you got China, you got others that are starting to jump out there as well.
There's a big race for the moon.
Yeah, there is this is a big, but we got to take it one step at a time. Artemis 2 is the best thing to do first. You can't launch a ship and say, "Hey, listen, we're going to the moon." Who knows what's going to happen? We got to do the surveys first, find out what needs to be done, put it together, and then do it. Yeah. Then from there,
it's kind of funny. The whole premise of the of For All Mankind, that television show, is that the race for the moon never ended. Right? Mm-hmm. The Soviets were able to keep going, and that's why America carried on following it. Where in real life, of course, the opposite happened. Where it was too expensive. The Soviets basically lost, and then they gave up, and then America gave up. So it's kind of interesting.
Yeah, it's like we need competition to keep going. We need to have that person snapping at our heels to give us that impetus to just keep going and keep focused.
There's a reason that it took 11 previous missions before that we landed on the moon. We had to figure out the best place. We had to figure out the best time to launch. We had to figure out where to launch from.
We also had to test all the hardware, make sure the landing module would work, and all of that good stuff.
You talk about the landing module. My best friend's grandfather worked for NASA during the Apollo missions and worked on designing the landing module. So he would whenever he'd come to town and visit, and whenever I'd be at my friend's house when he'd visit, I'd pepper him with questions about NASA and stuff. He was actually in mission control during the Apollo 13 incident. So what I do when I'm watching the Apollo 13 movie, which is one of my favorite movies of all time, I'll just pick a random person in like random background actor. I'm like, that's him, just for fun, just to remind myself that connection.
I had.
So Dave actually, see Dave's comment. He actually knows the real reason we haven't been.
We got to go defeat
the real reason.
Nazis.
Nazis on the moon.
Down Nazis are on the moon. We got to.
I love that scene where they're invading and it has the United Nations and every country comes up with like their space shuttles armed to the teeth. And the Sarah Palin, President Palin, she's like, "Are you kidding me? Did all of you break the treaty?" With the American ship being the biggest, most powerful one. It's just like, come on. That's a funny movie.
It's a good movie.
It's a great movie. If you guys haven't seen Iron Sky, please.
We're coming for you.
See this movie. It's
it was
a
on
great
Tubi
film.
at one time.
Yeah, I think it's still it. Wait, hang on. I have it up on my screen.
I have seen so many people, like especially
it's on Tubi, Roku, and on Amazon Prime,
saying, "Oh, it's all fake." You know, we're still getting those people that it's all fake. And I saw some idiot today on Instagram saying, "Oh, technology's so advanced. Why aren't they live streaming it all the time?" I'm like, they are, you utter moron. Go on Kick or one of these streaming services. You will find NASA live streaming from the shuttle. Are you kidding me, dude?
Yeah, NASA's has had a 24-hour stream going on.
Yes,
still is. It's still there. It's still running.
Actually,
when they
like
lost contact on the dark side of the moon, they was still broadcasting.
And I saw one where it was they were during one of the interviews. It had this guy. He has this pack just floating, and the pack looked weird. And someone commented, "Oh, it was fake." And someone's like, "Tell me you don't know how video compression works without telling me you don't know," because it was just something how they had to compress it. But people were like, "Oh, well, people didn't understand why they lost communications on the other side of the moon because you're not in line of sight of all the fucking satellites anymore, you dumbasses."
It's because they were talking to the Nazis.
Jesus.
They didn't want you to see the Transformers, the giant Transformer spacecraft. That was.
You mean I didn't get to see any of the Moon Babe squad because they didn't want to show me? God, I wanted to see the like bikini babes on the moon. Or the whalers on the moon.
I
Amazon women on the moon?
Yes.
I wanted to address Vicky's point here. You need the moon to get this set up and expand humanity out to the stars.
Yes.
I always assumed that was true, and then Elon came on and said, "Hey, I'm going to go right straight to Mars." And I always
he's changed. He's going for the moon.
He never said he was going straight to the moon.
Well, he was planning to go to Mars. And I was
you have to have a
set the moon
point
up first, and we should launch from the moon. We don't have to.
Yes, we do.
But it would be much.
There's two things you need to be able to do this efficiently. The first one we'll never have because our nations can't agree, and that is a space elevator. You build one on the equator, you get it up into orbit, and then you can ferry your materials into low G and build your ships up there. You're not wasting so much energy trying to escape Earth's atmosphere. Plus, you can then do experimentation on engines and stuff like that. And you imagine the solar farm you can have at the top, feeding down through the elevator and providing power to the Earth.
Yeah,
we have the
technology to do it. And
and we should be doing it. A space elevator would transform this planet, but we're not. So the second best is you set up on the moon, you put your construction on the moon. The moon's rich in helium-6 and a few other things. Asteroid mining is coming along leaps and bounds, where they should be doing, hopefully, their first test. And if that works, voila, you've got everything you need to be able to get the materials you need and construct things without having to escape Earth's gravity. And that's what we need to explore.
Now, you don't have to do those things. It's just it becomes much more expensive.
Yes, then we need the Eagle One
You don't have to do it. You don't have to do it. It just makes it much more expensive and much more reasonable to do it. You're right, which is why I was always questioning why Musk was talking about going to Mars instead of setting something.
I think he meant that was the goal, not like and if you think about this, I heard someone talk about this yesterday on a video. The reason they picked where the launch Cape Canaveral as the launching point is one, it's as south as you can really get in America. Two, it juts out a little bit. If you look at a map of the area, it juts out. It juts out into the ocean, and when you launch, you head east because the Earth rotates from east to west, and you're using that force to kind of push yourself out. You're using the Earth's kind of pushing against it to get out into orbit. So it makes, and you don't have to worry about. And when you drop the boosters, you're dropping it in the water, safe from dropping it on any body's head, basically, and that's one of the main differences between our space administration and say China and India. They don't really care where their boosters and stuff land.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Unlike Dave, who says we need an Eagle One transport.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Are we not going to the opposite end of freaking the spectrum?
Absolutely. When I was growing up, they were the coolest spaceship ever.
I had one.
You lucky! I never got my.
I had one. Oh,
I had to play with my friends once. I was never bought one.
I used to detach it, put the little the engine from the back of it, smack it right into there, and then I used to play it around, go, back and forth. I had so much fun with my Eagle. They
were brilliant.
Oh,
see, some of the best sci-fi shows, you have to have a great ship, and like Eagle One, the Millennium Falcon, the Enterprise, all these icon. Or one of my favorites that kind of inspired all of them was Valerian and Lorelai's Time Ship from Valerian. It was a French comic, but they did the movie Valerian and the City of a Thousand Planets. That ship, the Valerian comics are from like the 50s and 60s. If you look at the time ship from Valerian, it directly inspired the Millennium Falcon. It's such a cool little ship.
And Dave still has his Mattel Eagle transport.
Oh, that's cool.
Oh, I hope that's in mint condition, fully wrapped.
Yep. So we'll monitor, see what happens next in space travel as this goes on. I mean, when are they supposed to return? What, in about another week?
Or two? No. Let me look it up.
Yeah, it's about 2.5 days to the moon.
Oh, that's right. They did a slingshot. I forgot they did a slingshot
around, so it should be about.
They wrapped around the Earth. Friday. They'll be back. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Supposedly. Oh, they always said we're not going to count our eggs until we splash down.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
I found it fascinating that it's been circulating on X, the path, the trajectory that they took. And you would think they're going to the moon, so the moon would always be in front of them. But no, they were kind of like going at an angle to meet the moon as the moon came around. Yeah. And I thought that was absolutely fantastic. That was fascinating.
In Interstellar, when they were trying to get him back from Mars, one of their biggest concerns is like, we cannot wait until like it's the best time to launch when Earth and Mars are the closest. Yeah. That was a big issue that they had in that movie. That was a great movie, by the way.
Yeah, that's all Interstellar, where you go to where the thing is going to be.
Will be, yeah.
Yeah,
will be,
there,
yeah.
So not where it is now.
So, like we'll monitor this, see what happens. We'll see Splashdown. Probably we'll talk about that next week. So let's move on to the second half of the story we're working on, Hollywood, obviously. And the big, massive exodus that is happening, which we've just found out that J.J. Abrams, Bad Robot, is leaving Hollywood and coming to New York.
Poor New York.
From one socialist shithole to another.
Yep. Let me just read this a little bit off a deadline. J.J. Abrams is reducing the footprint of his production company, Bad Robot. The word is restructuring quickly spreading around Hollywood on Thursday, despite being a major Jewish holiday, Passover. The company is closing its Los Angeles office, expected to open up operations in New York, working with a smaller in-house team and outside producers. It is unclear yet if Bad Robot's current executives will be leaving, but discussions are underway. As Bad Robot slims down, the company will remain under its first look film and TV deal at Warner Brothers, which goes through the end of the year. By then, the company will have been at Warner Brothers for 20 years. The downsizing reflects the change in the financials of Bad Robot's Warner's deal, which went from rich overall agreement to a more modest first look pack at renewal announced in December of 2024. So now we got this going on, and basically, the thing is, most people are not realizing is on the East Coast right now, there is a massive change as far as productions. Now we've done productions for many years now. Brooklyn has opened up. Brooklyn at the Navy Yards and a couple other places. Their production studios have opened up in those areas itself. There's one that's going over to Red Hook that's under construction right now. Meanwhile, across the river from me, New Jersey, we're seeing they've already broke ground on 1818 Studios, which Paramount will be moving into those studios. You have Netflix, which they're going into also a military installation that's no longer being used. It's a very large area. And Lionsgate also is opening up a studio both there in New Jersey and I think a smaller one in NYC itself. And there are other independent studios that are starting to come here as well. So you're seeing an influx, and there is talk. Hollywood East, is this New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, Hollywood going to become Hollywood East?
No.
To the point for the amount of production. Well, Outpost, the amount of productions in here has doubled, almost tripled. New Jersey alone is Netflix has about 12 productions already running without the studios being built yet. They're working on stuff here. We've had casting calls that are happening.
So I have a few questions about this. Is the production now? I mean, I can see why you'd be setting up if you were an independent, or a new studio like Netflix. You're trying to make your own stuff. You need a studio. I mean, you're not going to get a place in Hollywood. Those guys are not going to give you their spots. You're going to have to start somewhere else. So I could see why you'd set up somewhere else. But is the capacity going to be bigger on the East Coast than it is presently in Hollywood?
The Brooklyn Navy Yards is tremendous. The studios are very large. The studios that are being built for Netflix over in Jersey, also the same situation. There's a lot of room for many productions.
So is it bigger than Hollywood? We don't know. Maybe
when it's finally done and clear, possibility. There could be a possibility. You're every day you're hearing some other studio, small or medium size, that are saying, "Hey, listen, we're moving to New York, or we're moving to New Jersey, or we're moving to Connecticut."
It's not really most people moving. Is it, unless it is, or is it people who are just setting up? I've got to set up somewhere. I can't set up in California, because I'm not sure why. Like, why would you do that? The business case in New York is maybe slightly better than California because California is a mess, like government and tax wise. But New York's not that much better. Correct me if I'm wrong.
The tax credits are there. There are tax credits.
They've been pushing the tax credit situation.
This has been, you are completely disregarding the 15, 20 years that this has already been happening. That companies have been taking their productions out of California, moving it to Toronto, to Canada, to Georgia, to Australia, to
the UK.
No,
as well.
you are correct. You are correct. Go ahead.
To the UK, to Cape Town. That's where One Piece was. A lot of Netflix shows. That's why Jamie Lee Curtis said she couldn't play Doctorine in One Piece because she could not go across the world at the time. This has been going on for years. Actually, I'd say for decades. It's like all these great movies from the 70s, 80s, and some in the 90s were filmed in Georgia. Porky's was filmed down in South Florida. I have a friend whose grandmother. There's a scene in Porky's where it's in the beauty salon. She was one of the beauticians in it, so she was always proud of that. She was in Porky's. It's been going on for years.
You're correct. You're correct on that, Outpost, except with the exception of Canada. Most of these productions that are moving into, like, say, the United Kingdom and some of the other places are not building full sustaining studios. They're building temporary locations. That's
They're
the major
taking
difference.
advantage of the tax credits without actually leaving. I did a bit of research, and since 22, the number of shoot days in Hollywood has declined by 46%. It's dropped 46%. And the employment is down 30%. Hollywood is shrinking. This isn't studios taking advantage of tax credits in other countries. These are studios who are now relocating. They're stopping doing bits of shooting in Hollywood, and they're effectively pushing their entire operations elsewhere.
Yeah, like a lot of these shows, like a lot of the MGM shows, they're filmed up in Canada. It's got to the point
did
now.
sustain themselves for quite some time up in Canada.
Like the Stargate franchise,
all the
Stargate
Stargate was up there,
franchise, which they use that success to branch into other shows like Sanctuary, Eureka, and all these other sci-fi shows for a very long time. It got to the point I'd be watching, like, I remember Warehouse 13, and they lived in this bed and breakfast, and I'm watching another show called Murdoch Mysteries, which is set in Edwardian Toronto. And I'm like, I recognize that building. It's all these settings from the same setting, filming locations from the same shows, because it's the same companies.
Well, even I mean, I liked the TV series Haven. I don't know if you've seen that. Absolutely,
I watched a little bit of it.
That was Lüneburg in Nova Scotia being pulled, pretending it's Maine. The
X-Files was filmed in most of it, except for the last 2 seasons, maybe, was filmed in Vancouver. The Expanse was filmed in a huge. They built a big set in Toronto. Reusing that. Okay, so my question is, why is it just, as Davis said,
cheaper,
chasing the tax credits? I mean, Canada for a lot of time the dollar was so much cheaper that they would save a lot of money from that. But is it chasing the tax credits?
One thing I've heard.
One part of it is.
Is it the business in California? Is it the way the government
that
and
bad.
high taxes and stuff?
California's got a high cost of living compared to a lot of other locations. So if you've got a lot of crew and stuff like that, and apparently the regulations are considered hostile for filmmaking now in California. So an example being getting permits to shoot on streets and stuff like that is apparently an incredible nightmare within California. So it's like California's become quite hostile to the production of films within their state, and it's eked through all the legislation. Add to that the cost of living being higher. It means if you've got crew and people staying for shoots, those costs quickly rack up. And I imagine those costs must be quite huge when you got months of shooting and you got hundreds, if not thousands, of people you're having to house.
California has the worst cost of living in the nation. It is. From best to worst, it is number 50.
Yeah.
Now let me bring this up.
What about New York? This is New York that much better?
It's catching up, probably.
It's easier.
New York is 45.
Here.
So there's a lot better places.
As production wise, it's easier to get licensing, production, everything. It's a lot easier in New York City.
It's not.
It's even easier in New Jersey, the state of New Jersey.
Because I'm wondering,
they're making it more friendlier to the production business. we already have had an established production business here since the 1980s. We were the first to have nonlinear editing in the business. We had Spielberg, Lucas, all of them come to New York to edit their movies to begin with.
That's
all right.
because I would think that if I was moving, I would move. Like, you've already got Georgia. They were doing a lot of, like, The Walking Dead, a lot of stuff there. Why not move to somewhere that's already? But I guess New York's already fairly well.
A lot of Marvel stuff was filmed in Georgia. The whole
Dave's saying, remember Florida and North Carolina. North Carolina still is doing very well for itself. So is Georgia. Florida not there anymore.
Florida doesn't have the tax credits anymore that a lot of places
not
do.
anymore.
They're trying to get it back.
Since Disney pushed MGM out of there, because I was down there in the 1990s to work in the industry By the time we hit the 2000, I was ready to move back. I moved back. I mean, there were two reasons I moved back. My father passed away, and the other half of it is the industry dried up. It dried up so freaking quick in 10 years.
I
It's
know
not
our
funny.
local. I've done some jobs for our local film commissioner, and she says it's so hard to get a production done. She's always trying to get production crews from up north to come down here, and she said it's difficult sometimes.
Yeah, it is. The whole thing is changing. Here's the other thing, and I wanted to bring this up, and this was breaking just today. Sony Pictures Entertainment layoffs underway as studio refocus on growth drivers. And I'll read a little bit from this. This is from Deadline. Sony Pictures Entertainment is proceeding with layoffs starting Tuesday across the motion picture group, television, and corporate office in what seems to be months-long process. The number being pink slip is estimated to be in the few hundreds from the global staff, which numbers north of 12,000. Those positions are impacted largely in the junior and middle management realms. The layoffs, we're told, are targeted and strategic and not a mere cost-cutting exercise. The current move by Sony Pictures Entertainment Chairman CEO Ravi Arjun is so that the conglomerate can better lean into the growth-oriented strategy, strengthening its differentiated business and focus on ROI drivers such as Crunchyroll and other types of anime outside of the group, as well as PlayStation adaptations in film and television. That means winding down the non-core or low growth of the business like Pixmondo. So this is what we're seeing here too. You're seeing certain studios. We already know, and this came out yesterday, that in Japan, the Japanese studios are already using AI. They're starting to use AI in their productions. They're starting to ramp and change a lot of this stuff. You have companies like Toho, who is now trying to get a foothold of their productions in the United States. They just bought over J-Kids, which is a big thing right now. J-Kids is now the arm of Toho Studios in the United States. There is talk of other studios from Japan looking to either to merge, which we've seen that with Crunchyroll and a couple of the and Aniplex and a couple of other companies. And you have others that are just looking to try to build a company similar to Crunchyroll and Funimation's in the United States alone. And that's one end of the business. The other half of the business is that you now have newer technologies that are coming in, and this is besides the AI situation. You know that you're able to build into studios itself. You don't need to go to a lot of these locations to shoot. Most of it can be handled within a studio itself, like it used to be back in the day, where they they didn't have to go to certain countries to film movies. They can build the sets themselves within these things or green screen them the rest of the way to that point. So that's why you've seen a massive I mean, if you're here in New York, you cannot believe the amount of jobs that are starting to open up for people in the business. I mean, I've been seeing stuff that just like, it's like, holy shit, we didn't have these jobs before 15, 20 years ago. Now they're here. And now it's also the same thing in New Jersey. New Jersey are offering great tax incentives to all this. And that's why there's even more studios opening up on their end. But they're only just a bridge crossing to New York as well. Law and Order is still shooting in New York. They're never leaving New York City. They've had a foothold, and they're staying tight. And so have other productions that are shooting in New York City. They ain't leaving it. They love it. They're getting what they're getting out of New York City.
Jersey probably lost a lot of money after Tony Soprano died, so they need to recover there.
Good.
Oh, he's at it again.
Good plan.
But see, what's going to happen with Bad Robot? The other question is, what's going to be Bad Robot that they're going to cut down all this? They're cutting back on there. I mean, for a company that used to be like massive, and now they've just cut everything down in half. You know, how many productions are they going to be making a year? You know, as far as that, I mean, they can do it, but if they're cutting financially everything in half, something's up. You know, with JJ right now. You know, minimizing the way JJ is doing it, he's cutting too soon. I mean, I expected him to take the entire Bad Robot with him. and not just half.
I think he's.
What do you think?
He's
fellas?
probably gonna dump the other half. I would say. I mean, wasn't his whole basis for his company was he had a big contract for doing some of these these Star Trek movies and various other things, and isn't that coming to an end? Plus, he hasn't been very successful with it. So
Yeah,
he's going
exactly.
to be he's. And I think Kurtzman is his peon sort of. It's like his little clone, his mini me. But I would think that he'd have to close up. Based on my research, I think he'd have to. Well, I didn't do any research, but I'm just hoping Dave will give me a shout out in the chat for my research. I didn't do any research though. But
Good
I
research.
mean,
yeah.
Thanks, Dean. I just think, yeah, I mean, that's got to be it. I mean, he's lost those contracts. He's not, he had these big Star Trek movies, which didn't, went okay or some, but I think they're falling off since the end. People are tired of him. And Kurtzman, his acolyte, has done even worse. So I think his company's going to have to scale down a lot. Yeah.
I mean, Dean puts up Bad Robot also got involved with Broadway productions like the revival of Sunset Boulevard. Yeah, but the thing is, Dave, Broadway is not Broadway like it used to be. You look at the Broadway shows here, there was so much, artistic expression in Broadway. Now you're taking any movie, Back to the Future, Spider-Man, you're taking all these movies and you're just throwing them on stage.
Yeah.
Without any real true thought.
They seem
to
to
the
lost some of
situation.
their creativity. I mean, it seems to be going all around in Hollywood. I mean, when does Hollywood put out something that was actually, new and, groundbreaking or anything? They just remakes.
And Dave says, you're fine. You're fine.
Okay,
as
great.
always, he says.
He's lying.
Dean hasn't
But see, the thing
overtaken
is,
me yet.
with
No.
yeah. See, the thing is with Broadway, I've seen a couple of the shows. I've seen Peter Pan on stage. Great stage show, Peter Pan, years ago. This was back in the 80s on there. The other thing is, a friend of mine who used to get some great tickets for some of the off-Broadway shows, because there's a lot of off-Broadway shows, even though there's still some here in New York. Not as many as it used to be. You had the Fantastics and stuff like that. I went to one out all the way out in Brooklyn, and I'm talking this is so small that the audience level was only 50 people in the audience. That's how small the off-Broadway show was. And it was a show based on a comic called Robot Caveman. And it was really good. I mean, I was like, okay, we're going to go. And I've heard of Robot Caveman before the comic. And I said, oh man, this is going to be like a silly thing. They're going to bring it on stage and they turned it into a musical, and it really worked. It really worked. And then there's the ill-fated, they're basically not ill-fated. That's the wrong thing to say. The one that's hard to get tickets to because it moves around so much. And yeah, it is based on a movie, is Evil Dead the musical.
Oh God.
No. Don't knock it. Don't knock it. It is a fantastic production. It's still on tour right now throughout the country. Every once in a while, it'll get close to New York. It hasn't been on Broadway, close to almost 20 years. It hasn't been back to Broadway. But when it was on Broadway, it was fantastically done. The music score is fantastic. They did both movies, and they kind of threw a little bit of Army of Darkness in there, onto that. But the one thing that got me also, and I'm glad we did. And I was going to punch my friend if he got the front row tickets. I heard what happens in the first 2-3 rows. It's called the Splatter Zone. And literally, there's a scene where, the Bruce Campbell character, he saw someone's head off, and they have prosthetics inside, and it just like spurts out into the audience. And they actually sold T-shirts. They said if you didn't want to buy the parka, they sold T-shirts that said, you know, like with a bullseye on it, a splatter zone. It says, I was at a splatter zone at the Evil Dead, and there you see people leaving the performance, and they're covered in blood.
I'm looking at the song list
It's
right now, and it is freaking hilarious.
Exactly.
One is called Boomstick.
The soundtrack will...
and the one is called S-Smart, or Do the Necronomicon.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I gotta check out this.
And my favorite is like, what the fuck was that?
Well,
Yeah, I
at
see
least
that.
someone is trying to be original, and even though they've based it on something that's come before, I love it when this kind of work comes up and they put thought, time, effort. They create songs. They kind of keep the spirit of what came before, but make it bigger, better.
I mean, the creator and Bruce Campbell showed up to the Broadway show, and they said, "Holy shit, you got it right!" Because the stage set was perfect to the state, the cabin in the woods that they did this movie at.
Yeah, that's brilliant. I had the opportunity last year, a few years back now, to see Stranger Things, the stage show. And that was a similar affair, that as in they took the TV series, but they created something incredibly far more interesting than the TV series in my opinion. But a lot of their kind of I would say stage trickery to create the illusion or the feelings or the set pieces, and they did a great job. And it sounds like this Broadway show's done the same.
Yeah, Evil Dead.
yeah.
You had all the effects. If you've seen Evil Dead 2, where the deer comes to life and the stuff that comes to life and all there, they do that in there, and it's you're sitting there and it's just it's done in 2 segments on there. They give a little bit of break in between on there, which is like Evil Dead 1, Evil Dead 2, and they did it was fantastic, and it was a lot of fun. The cast was, I mean, they've changed the cast several times already, but even the replacements have done a fantastic job. It still sells out. Anytime it hits anywhere in the United States, it's a sellout immediately.
I'm going to keep an eye on it, hopefully coming across here.
Yeah,
it has want.
Yeah,
if you guys like off Broadway, I've got off Broadway. Edmonton here has a festival every August called the Fringe Festival for 2 weeks, and I could write a play, and if I could get some people to act it, I could probably find a place to go and a venue and put it on. And there's a couple hundred plays over sort of a week long thing, and they are just, I mean, it's mostly theater kids and that kind of people. But yeah, you want real off Broadway, go and see a play there. You've got 10 people watching the show, and it's just something some guy made up in his basement and said, "Hey, I'll get my buddies and we'll put this on and stuff." But surprisingly, some of them are pretty entertaining. But it's very much hit and miss. You could pay your $5 or $10 and roll the dice.
Yeah,
that's what theater. I had a theater professor in college. He spent a year living in New York, working on Broadway. What he would do is he would. If I remember correctly, during the day, he and his buddies would be the ones selling tickets. Like if you were a tourist, you'd go up to him, "Hey, I want a ticket to this show." And then if they, for whatever show they didn't sell, they had tickets left over for, they just take them and go see the show themselves at night. But that's pretty much what y'all were talking about, just like putting on a show. I had a friend who wrote, produced, and directed this play that it was amazing. I need well, he's not friends on Facebook. I can't remember the name, but it starts off with this man. He's dead and he's standing over his own body, and you hear the nurses walk by. Oh, why is no one there to hear him? And the story is him standing over his body, reflecting on his life, and you realize tragically why there's nobody. I don't want to spoil it. I kind of do want to spoil it. You realize why he has no family to stand with him at his deathbed. Can I tell y'all? Because I really want to tell y'all.
No, what if we decide to go and see it? You will have spoiled the whole thing.
You will spoil the whole thing.
It's not on. It's not on. No, spoilers.
He hasn't performed it in like 15 years. Shut up.
Yeah, but when he gets the movie rights to it,
it could happen.
He's never going to do it. That's not going to happen.
Yeah, there's a lot of at the Fringe. There's a lot of various plays that are written, directed, starred in, background, music, everything done by one person.
Yeah, there's a theater group
That's
around the corner
part of
from
it,
my
yeah.
mom's house, Theater Republico de Puerto Rico, which is basically it's Spanish plays and musicals and stuff like that. And it's a small theater too, like the Robot Caveman one, and they sell out too. Also, their production, they're still producing to this day. I mean, it's 2026. That thing has been around since I was a kid, and they're still producing to this day. And they're like little dozen or two still of these productions throughout Manhattan.
Yeah.
But you don't see them garnish as it used to be.
Look at Rent. That's how Rent
Rent.
started.
Yeah, Rent, Phantom of the Opera,
Yeah.
Old
Phantom had
Calcutta, the Demon Barber of Fleet Street, Sweeney Todd, Into the Woods, Wicked, Wicked before they really bounced it up into a movie. Wicked was great on Broadway to itself. Cats, you can go down to a list of great Broadway shows, going back decades, and today you don't have it. You don't have that
all TV
gusto.
shows and movies.
Every once in a while you might come out with a rehash of The Music Man or some of the others that they've done in the past, which is it's okay. You're still waiting for the La Caja Falls redo on there.
One show I auditioned for in college, didn't get a part, but I really want to do this show in some way or another. It's a show called Dog Sees God. And it is the Peanuts gang in high school.
Ooh, that's interesting.
And it is so dark and so the show starts off with CB, Charlie Brown, and his sister at CB's dog's funeral.
Snoopy,
yes. And he died because he got rabies for killing a little yellow bird. And it is the name, all the characters, their names are changed, but it's who the show got when it premiered. Charles Schwartz's family estate sued the guy who made it, and he beat the lawsuit because he said it's parody. So what it is, it's like Pigpen. His name's Matt, and he's a pervert. He's basically, his dirtiness has gone from the outside and it's internalized. Peppermint Patty and what's her name, her little friend, I can't remember that character's. I can never remember that character's name. They're cheerleaders and they have a little thing going on, if you catch my meaning. Schroeder's name, I think, is Mozart, and he falls in love with Charlie Brown, and they had the play ends with God, it's so good. I don't want to tell y'all now, but it ends so dark, but it's such a good show. It makes you think, makes you think about social norms and kind of conforming to what society thinks you should be instead of what you you are. And I think that's one thing that theater used to do. I don't think it does so much anymore.
No, it doesn't anymore. It's like I said, the artistic. Same thing with Hollywood. Same thing with broadcast television and all this. The artistic expression has just died off. We need a new renaissance. It's because you have people trying to rehash the Hays Code once again. I've been calling it Hays Code 2.0 because they're trying to tell people what to put in their productions, who to hire, who to place in certain parts, which is that's not being artistic. That's you're telling the painter to say, hey, listen, I don't like you using blue in your painting. I want you to use red. It's ridiculous to this. We've gotten to this point.
That's what I was talking about earlier, where it's all about DEI hires and James. It is exactly that. It is woke. It is not the best person for the role. It's for the best person for optics.
It seems like there's lots of creativity around. It's just It's not to be found in the big Hollywood or any of those
No,
places. It's to
no.
be found
Oh,
in
no,
your
We need,
local
yeah, we
fucking
need
theater
again.
Oh, yeah.
groups or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah, we need again. Early 1970s is right when the Hays Code was deposed back in the 1950s. It took 10 years.
Vicky.
Yeah, Vicky's like, yeah. No, Snoopy's immortal. It took 10 years just for Hollywood to come back. And basically, you know, from the 1934 to the 1970s, you know, they brought, when the 70s hit, you had a renaissance, 70s, 80s, and 90s, massive renaissance of filmmaking. Some of the best films were prior to in the 1930s and into after the 70s. Even though there were some in between, but they could have been better because basically they were wrapped around the Hays Code.
What
to
major
that point.
political movement did you also have in the 40s and 50s?
Well, you had the obscenity laws as well.
No.
You had all the
I'm talking
obscenity
more.
laws.
You had McCarthyism during the 40s and 50s that were
Right,
strangling,
but stranglehold.
Hollywood as well.
But considering looking at 2026, you got to look back and say maybe McCarthy was right at the point.
Yeah.
Because you know, at that point, because what's going on in Hollywood, you have a lot of the communism in Hollywood, you know, as well. It is the scary part of this situation when you look back at history, and you know everybody wanted to control Hollywood, and Hollywood was under control. Razor Fist has a great video on that portion of history. You know, he goes into is that Hollywood is red to that point. You know,
I've heard so many celebrities like what's her name played the mom on Everybody Loves Raymond, Patricia Tillman. She was in an interview with I think her name was Sage Steele. I think that's who she was being interviewed by. She said there's such a big secret like club of closeted people on the right in Hollywood, but they know if they speak out, they'll be blacklisted just like the communists were in the in McCarthyism.
Yep. So we'll continue to monitor J.J. Abrams coming here and see what else is going to happen in the next several months as we, you know, through 2026 and what happens in 2027. I said, you know, last year, 2025 was crazy enough. 2026 is going to be even crazier than the year before that. And I'm going to tell you right now, put the quote on this date, April 7th, 2027 is going to be a reconstruction era. I'm going to say this right now. It's going to be reconstruction. We're going to be reconstructing the industry itself. Now, is it going to be better in 2027? No, it's not. It's going to take time. It's not something that's going to be overnight. Like I said, the Hays Code, it took 10 years for Hollywood to repair itself. And I'm going to say this straight out. The MPAA needs to be dissolved. We need to go back to the beginning again where we were G, PG, R, and we'll keep NC-17 and we'll keep X. That's it. And stop putting little notations. There's smoking in the movie. There's this and that. Stop. We are adults. If the movie is an adult movie, if you don't want to go in to see an action film, then don't go see the action film.
It's like,
you know, to that point.
Didn't Disney some of the movies that like they put warnings on Disney Plus? Didn't they do that like on the Aristocats or something?
Yes. Well, a lot of them. But we'll leave that for next time because we gotta. I know Dean's got to go. He's got a show in an hour.
Heading off soon. Before we close, I just thought I did a bit of research quickly. Apparently, there are 2,000 jobs within the film industry currently being advertised within New York and the greater area around New York.
Mm-hmm.
So that shows that there's a big influx going into New York right now.
Yep. And meanwhile, Dean, what do you got coming up? You got something coming up in
about an hour. The time's wrong on that one. We got an updated timesheet. We did the start at 11, so an hour later. But we are looking at the art that has gone into Untold Destiny and our artists. And because I foolishly had a super chat pledge that was met, I shall be dressing up as the Easter Bunny. So if you want to see me as the Easter Bunny, ears and all, as we look at our art, then pop across to Destiny's Dispatch in an hour's time.
We got the link right in the chat. It's right there for you, ladies and gentlemen, onto there as well. Okay. Outpost, what do you got?
I'm gonna be doing some more movie reviews. I think I gotta find it. I think the latest Avengers Doomsday trailer has dropped, so I'll be reviewing that, and I will be doing a video on some of my favorite obscure cartoons from growing up in the '90s. I will be talking about like the Mighty Ducks, Gargoyles, and a couple of other ones, a couple of other Disney shows that before when Disney was good. Back when they weren't afraid of action like they are now. Like Darkwing Duck as well is another great one that I loved as a kid.
Gargoyles was my favorite on the Disney.
Yes. I hope they continue it, but I'm like, don't fuck up this show. It's my childhood.
Oh yeah.
Keith David
was a
as
great
Goliath.
show on there.
So awesome.
Yeah. So, Snob, I know tomorrow night we're doing something big.
Yeah, first let me curse Dean and his research.
Someone's jealous.
Tomorrow is Babylon 5 retrospective. We start an hour earlier, and we're going to do 2 episodes: War Without End, Part 1 and 2, which is episodes 16 and 17 in the during the season. And it's a pretty big one. Time travel.
Big reveal.
Big reveal. Zathras is there. Everyone's favorite character, Zathras.
And
a little bit of Vorlons. Babylon 4 is back. Sinclair. You can see a picture of him. He returns. I like the. I've already watched the shows. I like the interaction between the two of between Sinclair and Sheridan. It's kind of some interesting stuff. And there's basically a big sort of plot line that we saw from season 1 is pretty much resolved in these episodes, I would say. Would you guys agree with that? I think you would.
Yeah, very much so.
Pretty much.
Definitely.
One of the biggest mysteries is finally answered in these episodes.
Yes, it's a big one. And the thing is, myself and Dean will be on the panel.
Yes, we will.
We both will be on the panel on tomorrow.
And I will be well researched for that one too.
Damn you. Damn your eyes. And of course, I will be there as well. That's the most important person to me.
You are the most important. Yeah. It wouldn't be the same without
in your own
of course.
mind.
That's right. Dean knows what to say if he wants to get invited back on.
Oh, yes.
No, it should be a good show. It should be a good show. We've got, we'll have 4 or 5 of us on there. We'll have a discussion. But it probably will be 3 hours because we got the 2 episodes to go to. I'll try to keep it to that. But exciting episodes. If you haven't watched it, watch them and come talk with us about it tomorrow. And as I said, I knew that he was the guy.
Hey.
I won't say any more.
No spoilers.
I mean, I didn't know before.
Spoiler free.
When the episode started, I was like, wait a second.
Yeah.
Hey.
Spoiler free here.
But we'll talk about that.
And what do we have Sunday on Top Lofty Lounge?
Sunday we're going to be talking about some Star Trek. It's going to be pretty chill. We're going to talk about some Star Trek movies. The good ones. We're going to go up to the last next gen movie. We're not going to do the JJ verse stuff. Nemesis, yeah. And we're going to give our thoughts about it, and we may have a special guest on the show. So very rare we have a guest on Top Lofty. So it'll be we'll see. I just have to confirm. Make sure I won't announce it before we have a confirmation. But that's what we're looking to do. And then coming up on movie nights coming up pretty soon. Cam has picked 2010 he wants to do. So I think that might be the week after. But it'll be soon coming up too. I think that might be the week after.
That'd be a good film.
One of the most underrated films in science fiction history.
That's exactly what Cam says too.
Yeah. It is
Underrated.
it is a fantastic. But those of you out here that have not seen this movie yet, is the sequel to 2001. It stars Roy Scheider and Helen Mirren. Fantastic parts in this movie. John Lithgow is also in this movie. The special effects are fantastic. There's recurring characters from the original film. And it just lists a lot of secrets that were held back from the first movie is resolved in this one, but still more more questions to be answered to the next. There's like 2 more novels after this, which they can do, after this, which they haven't done yet on that. Also, don't forget Tennessee Tabletop with their Bad News Bars on Sunday nights, 9 p.m. prior to Top Lofty. Also, do catch it out. James wants Zardoz.
No,
he's
Zardoz. Maybe eventually. Yeah, you get together with Jeff and see if you can work that. Also, you have to tune in on Sunday to find out TMP, the only good Star Trek. I don't know. I mean, we're going to be using the anime rating system to rate them, so we'll see. How it goes.
Also, Sci-Fi for Me TV. I think he's going definitely Friday. I'm not certain if he's doing a show tomorrow on there, because I know, as I said, Mrs. Sci-Fi for Me went through a procedure today when everything went okay. Healing prayers once again out there to that point. Thank you for those who have tuned in. We really do appreciate on that. Before you go, don't forget to give us a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't yet. You can give us a thanks at the end after the stream. You're able to do that if you want to throw a couple of bucks for coffee or something to that nature, or if you want to go over Flowers 10 to our site for our gear. You can go below in the description. You'll see some of our t-shirts. Link it. You'll go right directly to the site itself. So once again, thank you for those who have showed up. Thank you for our dais today, especially you, Dean. Hopefully have you again on there. We'll see you again Wednesday on Sci-Fi Snobs channel. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you.
Okay. Thanks, everyone.
Good night,
Later.
everyone.
Bye.
Hey everyone! Thank you so much for hanging out with us today. We truly appreciate every single one of you. Don't forget to check out our official merch shop and our amazing affiliate partners. Until next time, mwah!